Welcome to Marcus Pointe Baptist Church, where it's our mission to connect to God, one another, and a lost world.
That's what I'm all about.
For everything Marcus Pointe, go to our website at pensacolachurch.org.
Well, good morning, church. Let's all stand to our feet as we've come to praise the King of Kings this morning. Come on, we want to teach you a new song. Come on, help us sing it out. I have felt the hands that bear the scars, reach down and rescue me. I have known the love of the Father's heart, a prodigal now redeemed. From where I was to where I'm now, it's overwhelmed me. The more and more I see you move all around me, I can't help but praise you, Lord. I can't help but lift up shouts of joy. When I think of how good you've been, faithful now to the end, I can't help but praise you, Lord. Come on, for the blood is spilled to save my life, the debt I cannot repay. For the cross you bore with open arms, salvation that called my name. Say, from where I was to where I'm now, it's overwhelmed me. The more and more I see you move all around me, I can't help but praise you, Lord. I can't help but lift up shouts of joy. When I think of how good you've been, faithful now to the end, I can't help but praise you, Lord. Come on, I can't help but dance 'cause I'm free. I got no chains on me, I'm in and redeemed. Oh, I can't help but call on the name that buried my shame, who opened my grave. Oh, dance 'cause I'm free. I got no chains on me, I'm in and redeemed. Oh, I can't help but call on the name that buried my shame, who opened my grave. I can't sing it out. Praise you, Lord. I can't help but lift up shouts of joy. When I think of how good you've been, faithful now to the end, I can't help but praise you, Lord. Say, I can't help but praise you, Lord. I can't help but praise you, Lord. Come on, praise him this morning. Sing it out. I can't help but praise you, Lord. I can't help but lift up shouts of joy. When I think of how good you've been, faithful now to the end, I can't help but praise you, Lord. Yes. Come on, church, how are we doing this morning? Yeah. We're so thankful that you've come to be with us today at Marcus Pointe Baptist Church. When you walked in the doors today, you should have received a worship guide. And on the back of that guide is a connection card. And whether this is you're with us every week or if this is your first time with us, we just ask that you just take a moment, fill that out. You can do it by the physical card or by going to our QR code behind us to do it digitally. And this is just our way to be able to connect with you, how we can be, as a church, one body together, that we come alongside you in your walk. And I think that's so important. It's also a place on that card where you can put your prayer requests. We can know how to be praying for you. We want to know how we can come alongside you in this thing called life. It's so important. So make sure you take the time, fill that out today, and then place that in the white buckets by the doors on your way out today, if you would do that. But we're so glad that you're with us today. We want to continue in this moment of worship. We serve a faithful God, and there's so many blessings that we can think about of how He is here for us every single day. And so right now, as we think about that faithfulness, let's sing this to Him right now. Blessed are those who run to Him, who place their hope and confidence in Jesus. He won't forsake them. Blessed are those who seek His face, who bend the knee, who fix their gaze on Jesus. They won't be shaken. Come on and praise the Lord with me. Sing if you love His name. Come on and lift your voice with me. He's worthy of all our praise. Yes, He is. Blessed are those who walk with Him, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage with Jesus. They'll see His glory. Come on, bless. Blessed are those who died to live, whose joy it is to give it all for Jesus and for Him only. Oh, Jesus, all for your glory. Yeah. Come on and praise the Lord with me. Sing if you love His name. Come on and lift your voice with me. He's worthy of all our praise. We say, come on and raise your offering. Sing if you know His grace. Come on and lift up your holy hands. He's worthy of all our praise. He's worthy of it all. Come on, sing this together. Bless God in the sanctuary. Bless God in the fields of plenty. Bless God in the darkest valley. Every chance I get, I'll bless your name. Bless God when my hands are empty. Bless God with the praise that costs me. Bless God when nobody's watching. Every chance I get, come on. Bless God when the weapons for me. Bless God when the walls are falling. Say, bless God 'cause He goes before me. Every chance I get, I bless your name. Bless God for He holds the victory. Bless God for He's always with me. Bless God for He's always worthy. Every chance I get, oh say again. Bless God in the sanctuary. Bless God in the fields of plenty. Say, bless God in the darkest valley. Every chance I get, I bless your name. Bless God when my praise this morning. Oh, we just bless that name, that powerful name right now. There's power in that name that can speak to any circumstance. Whatever you've walked in here with, lay it down. Let's worship him for the name is above all names.
I could sing your name for all my life and still find more to love each time. Jesus be the name of all my lips. It's sweeter every time that I call on it. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, you're worthy. You have been the friend who never left. I won't forget your faithfulness. Jesus be the name ever on my lips. It's sweeter every time that I call on it. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name. Oh, there is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, you're worthy. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name. There's just something about your name that makes me cry holy. There is no other name I know. There is no other name. There is no other name. Jesus, you're worthy. Oh yes, you are. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Can we just sing that chorus together? Let Jesus be the name. Let Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory above everything else. Jesus be the name. Yeah.
Jesus be the name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus be the name that gets
all the glory. Oh, sing again. Jesus be the name above every name.
Jesus be the name.
Oh,
Oh, Jesus be the name that gets all the glory.
hey. Jesus be the name. Oh, yeah.
Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory.
Come on, just the voices. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory. One more time. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name. Jesus be the name that gets all the glory.
Take out your outline. It's on your bulletin. Follow along with me. The title of my series now is The Tables of Jesus. We're talking about tables. It's amazing how, to me, in the Bible, how God teaches us big lessons through little things. You think about the little sparrow, how the Bible says that a little sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without God knowing all about it. It's so cool how God said that he took 2 little sardines and a few hush puppies and he fed multitude of people. Remember that story in the Bible? Just little things, loaves of bread and 2 small fish, and he fed thousands of people, just little things. He talks about the little foxes destroy the vine. I was in Africa. We went hunting on safari, my wife and I, and they wanted us to go and help them harvest some foxes. I said, why is that? They said the farmers have a real problem with little foxes. Said at night they come out and they nibble away at the grapevines and they eat all the green part and they kill the vines. I said, wow, that's Bible. It's the little foxes that destroy the vines. And in your life and in my life, we have to look out for allowing little things to come into our life. They can become big things. They can destroy your life. So you got to watch it. The Bible talks about little things. I love that story where the widow lady came and she put a little offering. I mean, to think about what she gave was hardly anything. But God said that was a big offering because she gave what she had. So it was a little penny, but it was big to God. Write this down. God is big on little things. God is big on little things. You know, it's important to pay attention to little details in your life. It's important to think what's big in your life that God calls big. Sometimes it's just little tiny things. You know, we talk about this all the time at the church, about how vital it is for us to do the little things right. Pay attention to the detail. I had a talk this past Tuesday in our staff meeting, and I talked to our staff about making sure that we do the little things right. You know, it's important that we have people standing on the street holding signs and waving to people. Some people think that's just a little thing. It's a big thing. I have people all the time tell me. I had somebody told me they went to the church across the street, or down the street, or somewhere across the street. And they saw us standing out there holding a sign, and they ended up in our church because they saw the sign holders. And I just want to tell the sign holders, you matter. It may seem like a little thing, and it is a big thing. Somebody drives the golf cart out there in the back 40, and they pick up somebody down by the oak trees, and they bring them up to, hey, you know what? That's a big thing. Maybe a little thing to some, but it's a big thing. Somebody stands at the door and hands out a mint. That's a big thing because there's a lot of bad breath people in this room. It's a big thing. Are you with me? Say amen. It's just a big thing. Listen, little things can be big things. And God says we got to watch. Now, when we think about tables, you say, how do you preach a whole series of sermons on tables? It seems so little and insignificant. Well, when you look at the places that Jesus went and the things that he did at tables, those little tables became big tables. He sat at that marriage table and he did a miracle. His first miracle was at a marriage table in Cana. And then you think about Jesus going into the temple, and what did he do? he flipped over those tables. And we learned that God is very protective of his church. He's very protective of the place where believers are to come and to worship and serve God. He's very protective of that. He didn't want it to become a house of merchandising or to be the wrong kind of place. So Jesus went in there and flipped those tables over and taught us some very valuable lessons. Last week I talked about the table of friendship. And we all need to have friends. Everybody needs a friend at some point in your life. And everybody needs for you to be their friend at some point in life. So it's important to have friends and to be a friend. And we learned last week the table of Matthew. Matthew was a tax collector. He was crooked as a dog's hind leg. He got right with God. He got saved. He invited all. Somebody's going, what in the world does a dog's hind leg have to do? Well, if you look at a dog's hind leg, it's crooked, right? See, this is some high theology you got to learn in this room here today. And so Matthew takes those friends of his that were crooked as a dog's hind leg. They go to the table. He invites Jesus over, and Jesus shares who he was with them. Their lives were changed at the table of friendship. It's good to make friends with people to help them with the gospel. Now today, we're going to talk about the table of fellowship. The table of fellowship. And this table of fellowship obviously comes from what we're going to be doing today because we're going to be taking communion. Now, if you read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you're going to see how God inspired 4 different men to write 4 different gospel books. We believe that they were written under the inspiration of God, the control of God. Luke the doctor, he didn't just sit down and write a story and then it was published as from God. No, God inspired him and controlled what he wrote. So he wrote. Matthew, of course, has a gospel as well. If you read through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you'll see the story of Jesus in the upper room with his disciples, and they were having communion. They were having fellowship. And you're going to see that there are different things that were included in the story of that upper room Last Supper in each different gospel writer's narrative. So when you put all 4 of those gospel narratives together, then you get a better picture of what actually happened that night in the upper room. Now today we're only going to look at John, and we're going to look at Luke, and we'll read at the end of the service, we'll look at Matthew for just a bit. But I want you to kind of get an overall picture of what happened in that upper room. Remember this. On the night before the crucifixion, Jesus gathered his 12 disciples together. Don't miss this. Those 12 disciples were, at that point in time, the leaders of the church. They sat around the table, and Jesus was teaching them some lessons on communion and fellowship. The reason that he was teaching those leaders those lessons was because they were going to set the tone, they were going to set the vision and the future of the direction that the church was going to go. So he wanted them to understand how important that fellowship within a church, how important communion in a church is, communion with God, communion with one another, fellowship with God, fellowship with one another. He wanted those early leaders to know how important that it was. And so, in setting the tone for the future of the church, he did the Last Supper communion, and he taught them some lessons. So what I want to do today is just give you 3 things that were important that he taught that night. Is important for them, and it's important for us. We're going to be in John chapter 13 to begin with, but write this down. As they sat at the table with Jesus, he washed their feet. And he washed their feet to teach those early church members about humility. He sat at the table with them. Jesus takes out a towel, and a basin of water, and he washes those 12 church members' feet. In that foot washing, he was teaching them about humility. So let's read it. John 13, beginning in verse number 1. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, he knew he was going to die. He knew he was going to go to a cross. They didn't know that. They didn't know what was fixing to happen in just a few short hours. So this was important information that he was giving them that would set the tone for the church leaders and the future of the church in getting the gospel to the world. This was all important stuff going on in that upper room that night. Having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. Verse 2. And supper being ended, the devil having put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Remember, there were 12 disciples there. We'll talk about them in just a moment. One of them was Judas. He was a betrayer, but he wasn't the only betrayer that was there. Now, he betrayed Jesus in a different way. He was a different person, but we're going to see that there were maybe some other betrayals that went on there. Verse 3. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hand and that he was come from God, and he went to God. Verse 4. He rises from the supper, Jesus. He laid aside his garment, his robe, and he took a towel. And he wrapped that towel around himself, and he got on his knees. Verse 5. And he pours water into a basin, and he began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel which he had girded about his middle. Verse 6. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, you gonna wash my feet? Oh, Simon, he was always running his mouth. He was a big mouth dude, you know. He said a lot of stuff he shouldn't have said, and he said, why did I say that? Have you ever done that? You're trying to catch those words as they're coming out of your mouth. Too late. They already been said. I've done it. I've done it right here. And my wife will say to me, why did you say that? I know I shouldn't have said it. Please forgive me. I do like your fried chicken. But anyway, verse 7. Jesus said unto him, what I do thou knowest not, but thou shalt know hereafter. Verse 8. Peter saith unto him, thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, if I don't wash your feet, then you're not a part of me. Simon, there's some lessons I'm trying to teach you. You need to learn those lessons tonight and for the future. You understand what I'm saying, Simon? Oh, okay, I'm getting it. Verse 9. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, well then not my feet only, but wash everything. And if I need to learn a lesson about washing feet and being humble, then you teach me everything I need to know. I'm all ears. Verse 10. Jesus saith unto him, he that is washed needeth not to save wash his feet, but is clean every whit, and ye are clean, but not all. Simon, there are some lessons that you need to learn from what I'm trying to teach here tonight in this room. Learn the lesson of humility. Verse 11. For he knew who should betray him, therefore said he, ye are not all clean. Think about this. He knew that there was one that was going to betray him to the Sanhedrin, to the Pharisees, to the religious uppity-ups of the day, and they were going to put him in jail, take him to the cross. Jesus knew that. He knew that Simon Peter was going to betray him. He knew that he was going to turn his back on him. But still that night, Jesus went ahead and washed their feet, knowing what they were going to do to him. He was teaching them. There's all the time. We need to humble ourselves before God. We need to be humble before other people. Jesus was basically saying, have you ever read the book by Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life? Anybody ever read that book? I highly recommend that book. In the opening sentence of that book, it says, it's not about you. It's not about you. Hey, preacher, it's not about you. Hey, deacons, it's not about you. Hey, leaders in the church, it's not about you. Hey, church member, it's not about you. It's about him. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not all about us. Jesus was saying to them, you are the embryonic beginnings of the church. You're going to set the tone, the future direction of the church. I want you to know it's not about you, it's about him and about them. You see, he wanted those disciples that night to learn that they need to humble themselves before God Almighty. They need to realize that he has called them to a purpose that is bigger than themselves. And there are going to be times that they're going to have to give in to do things and be things that are not what they want. But if they will humble themselves, then God can take them and God can use them in ways that they never saw possible. You realize one day on the day of Pentecost, after Jesus went up to heaven, you remember that? When Jesus ascended up into heaven, Simon Peter preached and 3,000 people got saved. He didn't know that when he was in the upper room that night saying to Jesus, you're not washing my feet. You see, Jesus had a big plan for Simon Peter. He had a big plan for those early church members, and he wanted them to be in fellowship with him, Jesus, but he also wanted them to be in fellowship with each other so that they could go out and have an impact on the world. Because you see, the church is at its best when it's right with God and right with each other. Then it comes to the point where we're saying, it's not what I want in my life. It's not what I want to be or what I want to do. It's about what God wants me to be and what God wants me to do. And I'm willing to humble myself so that God can use me in the church as well as out there where people need to be helped in the world. Verses 5 through 9, look at this. After that, he poured the water into the basin, began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that he had wrapped around him. Verse 6. Then cometh he to Simon Peter. Simon says, nope, you're not washing my feet. Verse 7. And Jesus said, we already read it a moment ago. I want to remind you of this. He said unto him, what I do thou knowest not. You don't understand this. This has got a lot of future principle to it. Simon, you need to get this. It's not about you, Simon. When are you going to learn that it's not about you? There's a bigger purpose in life than what you want. Simon, you got to let me wash your feet. You got to humble yourself. Verse 8, Peter said, I get it. Jesus gets in front of him. He takes that towel, that basin of water. Now you got to understand, they didn't wear Nike shoes back then. They didn't have any Jordans on. They didn't have any floor shines on. You know, a lot of them went barefooted. Are you tracking with me? A lot of them wore sandals. So, you know, the streets of Jerusalem were not clean places. There's a lot of animals walking around the streets of Jerusalem. You get it? There's a lot of dirt, a lot of mud, a lot of nastiness. Their feet were nasty. Well, that's a good picture of our lives, isn't it? Because we walk out there in the world every day. Nastiness. Jesus is willing to take away the nastiness if you'll humble yourself before him. So Jesus washes those nasty feet. Jesus didn't have one speck of dirt in his life. He never thought a bad thought. He never did a wicked deed. But he was willing to get on his knees and say, it's not about me. I'm trying to teach you that it means, what it's about is humility. I'm going to humble. He was saying to them, I'm going to humble myself before you, and you're going to see that I'm going to humble myself in just a few hours and die on a cross. And I want you to be willing to die to yourself Humble yourself. So the first lesson they learned, the church learned, was humility. I need to learn that. You probably not like me. There's probably no pride in this room besides me. I'm the only one who got any pride. Yeah, you laughing because you know I'm telling you the truth. Everybody in here got a problem with pride every now and then, right? So there comes a point where we have to say, God, I got to humble myself before you. So the first lesson we learn is we need to be humble people. We need to die to self. We need to say that there are things that are more important in the purpose of God than in my purpose. Number 2, write it down. Second thing that he taught them was this. As they sat at that table, I love this. They looked around and they realized they may look alike, but they're all different. Look at the picture. Look at this picture. That's the picture of the upper room. Now, it's an artist rendering. I mean, they all look nice and beautiful, and their hair's all combed, and everything looks good. They got on their best Sunday robes. I understand all that. And they're all sitting at a table, and it's all nicely decorated, but that's probably not the way it looked. Truth of the matter is, I've been to a Jewish Seder. I've been to a Passover meal in Israel. The tables are real low, and people kind of lounge on pillows all around the table. And it's kind of sometimes a little bit chaotic looking. And, people don't look all nice like they did in that picture. You can see how good everybody looks and their beard's all right. That's probably not the way it was. But it is a good representation of who was at the table. Let me remind you who was there. Jesus was there, of course. He's right here. And then he had all around him those members of the early church. And they all kind of look alike, but they're all very different in their backgrounds. Because the church may look a lot alike sometimes, but we're very different people. And that's the way the church is supposed to be. Write this down. Jesus was teaching them that the church is to be about fellowship and unity, not uniformity. Fellowship means two fellas in the same ship. If you're in fellowship, we're in the boat together. He was saying to those disciples, you got to be in the boat together. That's vital for the church to move forward. You got to be in unity. It's another way of saying fellowship. Unity means we're together. We're not always on the same page as understanding everything, but we say, hey, for the sake of reaching the world with the gospel, we're going to be in unity, but we're not uniformed. As I look across this room, we got some geezers. You're looking at one. I got the gray hair to prove it. I saw somebody the other day, I hadn't seen them in like 40 years. And I could tell when they walked up and they saw me, and they went. And they were nice. They said, you've lost a lot of weight. Really what happened was they saw that gray hair and lack of it. We don't all look the same. Some of us got gray hair, some of us got blonde hair, some of us don't have any hair. Some of us got a little bit of money, some of us ain't got much. Some of us been to school, some of us didn't graduate from 6th grade. Some of y'all spent the best 3 years of your life in 9th grade, right? I was talking to a guy the other day. I said, did you graduate? He told me he graduated from college. I said, wow, that's great. I said, what was it like there for 4 years there? He said, 4 years? He said, it took me 6. So who knows who's here? You know people, I know people. We don't all know each other, but I can tell you this. We may not be uniformed, wearing the same clothes, being the same age, coming from the same background, but we have to be in fellowship with God, fellowship with each other. There has to be unity within the church of purpose and direction, or the church doesn't reach the world with the gospel. So Jesus teaches them fellowship, unity, and uniformity. Now let's think just real quick about the people that were there. I mean, just call their names out. And you'll see how different they were, but yet he was telling them, you gotta be together. There was Simon Peter. Well, we already read about him. He was an outspoken fisherman, always running his mouth. That was Simon Peter. Then there was James and John, two brothers. They were fishermen also, but they had a little bit of money. They were a little bit on the upper class level in their fishing business. There was Andrew. He was Simon Peter's brother. Andrew didn't get to say much because Simon Peter was always saying it. But Andrew was a bringer. He brought people to Jesus. So he was different than Simon. There was Philip. Philip was very thoughtful. He was very practical in his approach to life. Do you know people like that? Sometimes they can be a little bit negative, you know. They're so practical about things. Well, I don't know if that's going to work. You know, maybe, he was that way. There was Nathaniel. Nathaniel was a skeptic. You remember he said, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? You're talking about Jesus. They had to correct him. Well, he was kind of a skeptic in the way that he viewed life. Then there was Matthew. We know about Matthew. He was a tax collector that was radically saved. And he left the tax collecting business and he followed Jesus. He's sitting at the table there. So here's a crooked tax collector. Then you had Thomas. Does anybody know anything about Thomas? What was Thomas? He was a doubter, wasn't he? There's Thomas, who was a doubter. You got to understand, Jesus had a purpose for having all these people at the table. He didn't get to the table with them to just have a meal. It was way more than that. He didn't get to the table to just high-five one another, to enjoy no, he was teaching them lessons at that table. It was a very important table for him to be at. He had an influence on them. They were going to be influencers with what they learned at that table. Are you getting it? So that table was important. It wasn't just a random table that they sat at. No. Even though they were very different, they were a lot alike. There was Thaddeus. He was loyal and obedient. There's people like that. They're loyal as the day is long. You never have to look over your shoulder at them. They're with you. They in. They gone. They done. That was Thaddeus. He was that kind of person. Then I love this next guy, James the Less. You know why they called him James the Less? Because he was a short dude. I love James the Less. In fact, James the Less and I, we see eye to eye on everything. James the Less was one of the youngest of the 12. Short dude, young guy, but he was there. He was a part of it, even though he was kind of quiet behind the scenes. And then there was Simon the Zealot. You know what he did? He was a political rabble-rouser. He wanted the Jews to rise up against Rome and fight. Jesus put him in the leadership of the church. He said, you got to tame that now, Simon. You got to be careful how you say it and what you say. But there's nothing wrong with standing up for right. He was there. But you got to be humble. You got to be careful. And then the last one, everybody knows this one, Judas Iscariot. Now, I want you to think about this with me for just a second. Everybody, are you listening? Everybody listen to this. Think about this. Here is a church. And you got all these people from all these different backgrounds. Some ways they looked alike, but in a lot of ways they were very, very different. They had different jobs. They have different personalities. They were very, very different. So of the 12 people, there was one at that table that was a devil. No. You mean in the church there are people that are not trying to do the right thing for Jesus? No. Yes. Judas Iscariot, Jesus said he was a traitor. So he's sitting at the table with the church. He was named as one of the leaders of the church, but in his heart of hearts, he was not willing to humble himself and follow after Jesus. He was doing it for the money. He was doing it for the recognition. He had a bad motive for what he was doing. It was about 30 pieces of silver with Judas Iscariot. And so here you have a church with these people. They got all these different kind of broken lives, all this messed up kind of personalities. They're all different. All of them have to be mended. They all have to be fixed by Jesus. They all have to be taught how to move forward in their life with humility. Even though we're all different, we got to be connected in the same purpose and be willing to live that way. But he said, I want you to know something, church. There's one at this table that is not going to get it right. And he takes that piece of bread and he dips it in the sop, and he hands it to Judas Iscariot, and he said, he's the one. He ain't right. He don't want to get right. He's not going to be right. He got to go. And what happened? In just a few short hours, Judas Iscariot comes up. Now here he is in the upper room with the disciples in 1 minute. The next minute, he's planting a kiss on Jesus' cheek and betraying him to the Sanhedrin that took him and beat him and plucked out his beard and put a crown of thorns on his head and put nails in his hands and in his feet and a spear in his side. Hung him on a cross and killed him. How in the world could it be? It's a warning. It's a warning for me. It's a warning for you. That there are things in our lives that can take us down wrong paths that we need to adjust for the good of our life, my life, for the life of Jesus and what he wants for me, and the life of the church to have an influence with the gospel on the world. Remember what I said, Rick Warren said? It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about him and them. So, though they looked alike, they were different in so many ways, they had one thing in common. Jesus wanted them to be right so they could lead the church forward. Number 3, third lesson, write this down. As they sat at the table, they learned about a new covenant. They learned humility as the church leaders. They learned that not everybody's going to be the same, but we got to adjust for the sake of the gospel. And then they learned that there's a new covenant that he wants us to live in. As they sat at that table, they learned about a new covenant. Jesus said in Luke 22, verse number 20, look at this. Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament, new covenant, in which my blood, which is shed for you. Here's what he said. You wonder why we're doing this? It's about the new covenant. Why do we take communion? We remember the new covenant that he instituted there in the garden, in the upper room. Jesus reached back and he took from their memory, those disciples, they knew, he reached back and took from their memory the Passover. That was when death passed through Egypt, and the families that put the blood on the doorpost, death passed over, judgment passed over. But those families that did not apply the blood to their house, death came to that house, and the firstborn of every house died. Jesus reaches back and he says, in the old covenant, the blood of animals had to be applied. He said, I'm teaching you now a new covenant. This covenant is where I'm going to present to you a blood that is eternal. And you're not going to have to every week bring a new sacrifice. You're going to have a one-time eternal sacrifice for your sin. It's a new covenant. You don't have to live in the old anymore. It's new now. And he said to them, I want you, each one of you, to be a part of this new covenant. My broken body, my shed blood, the bread, and the grape juice. And I want you to understand that that is representative of this new covenant. And I want you to take of this new covenant tonight in recommitment of your life to me, Jesus, to the new covenant that I'm going to give for you, and to the purpose of reaching the world with the gospel. He said, you got to be in fellowship with me. You got to be in fellowship with each other. You got to be in communion to be who you should be and have an influence on the world. And so he was saying to them that night, don't miss this, he was saying to them that night, you got to reconnect and recommit with me tonight. Even though there's some that don't understand what we're doing here and will not commit to it, he said, you have to do it if you're going to be the leadership moving forward with the church to reach the world. I tell you this all the time. This happens to me all the time, nearly every week. So I'm writing my sermon, and I made a phone call. I stopped, made a phone call. I had to make an appointment. So I call up this place, and this lady answers the phone. Well, like I always do, I cannot just make the appointment. I had to talk to the lady. I do this with practically everybody that I call on the phone when I'm making appointments and stuff. I do this to the Delta people. They all know me at Delta, I guarantee you. Because when I call Delta to make a plane, I don't like to do flights online. I like to talk to somebody. So I'll call the Delta representative, and she'll say, hello. I'll say, where are you at? And I called one the other day. She said, I'm in Cincinnati. I said, oh, man, I love the red Cincinnati Reds. I said, I've been up there hunting around Cincinnati before. I said, hey, is it cold up there? And we just had a conversation, My wife said to me, I can't believe you sit there and talk to them people like that. And so I called this lady to make an appointment here in town. I called her up, and I said, I need to make an appointment to come in and do what I was going to do. And she said, well, what is your name? And I said, it's Gordon Godfrey. And she said, you're not Pastor Godfrey, are you? Well, why do you ask? She said, about 20 years ago, I was driving down the road, and God told me to come to your church. She said, I was going through a tough time in my life. My marriage was on the rocks, having a difficult time. And God told me to come to your church. She said, I obeyed. And I came to your church. And she said, I got right with God. Got my life on the right track. And she said, I was living for God. Everything was good. I was serving in the church, helping in the church. Everything was going awesome. She said, I started doing some of the wrong things. I got with the wrong. She may be here today. I asked her, could I share the story? She said, yes. She said, I got with the wrong crowd. I started doing some wrong things, and I lost my testimony, and I lost my drive for living for God, and I couldn't really serve God anymore the way I was living. And so she said, I just got out of church. And she said, I haven't been in church in a long time. And she said, your call today is a divine appointment from God. She said, I will be in church on Sunday. I said, well, we're having communion on Sunday. Here's her words. That will be an awesome opportunity for me to reconnect to God. I said, you're right. I hope to see you. Be sure and come up to me and speak to me and let me know that you're there. I never met the lady when I went to the appointment. Didn't get to see her. I don't know who she is. But she told me about her life and said, please share my testimony to help somebody else. Here's what I'm saying to you. There was that church in the upper room, the Last Supper. They were having communion. It was about fellowship. It was about unity. It was about being right with God, being right with one another, all being in the boat together, going in the same direction, because there is a lost world out there that needs you and me to help them. And if you need to get reconnected to God, if you need to make a commitment to God to say it's not about me, it's about Him and about them, today's your day. We had a gentleman that came and got baptized this morning. He'd been saved here recently from Montgomery, Alabama. Doesn't get any better than that. He got saved and baptized. We had another family that came and joined the church. Said, we want to go to work for God here. We want to start serving God here. Had people all at the altars. Listen, today, before we have communion, if you need to reconnect or recommit or get something, do that first. and then we'll have communion. Here's what we do. We have the invitation, 2 verses of invitation song. And then we'll take communion together. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. It'll take about 10 minutes. But it's going to be a very important time. If you know the Lord as your Savior, it doesn't matter if you're a member here or a guest here, you're from out of town or in town. If you want to take communion today, we want you to feel welcome to take communion today. But I would not take communion until you voice that prayer to God of something that you need to make right